happening to the objects, being cut up, so on and so forth. The stress situation is going to make it worse. Mm. Remove this stress situation and see what happens. See where, because we've tried everything else. We've tried hospital, we've tried social workers, we've tried psychiatrists, and also we've tried hypnosis with me, and nothing seems to have worked. Well, let's try and get back to a normal state of life where you remove all the bolts and the locks and everything else, and you have complete access, and you go back to living as a normal person with your husband.
We have done this once, haven't we?
Yeah, well, do it again.
Yeah,
do it again. Get back to normal. What I want for Shirley is for her to get back to a normal way of life. I've dealt with hundreds of cases over the years. Most of them involve great personal distress. Visiting people all over the country is fascinating, but very time-consuming. I have to fit everything in with my regular work as an industrial designer and inventor. My latest project is a cost-effective poster machine for use in public places around the world. This is the workshop where I worked on this machine way back in the late 60s. Much later on, I repatented it with all new ideas. It's a very easy machine to work. Posters are hung into the machine. The machine automatically changes the posters. It adjusts itself for any number of posters you put in, up to 24. And this lot you see there is going out to New Zealand. The demand for my invention is growing all the time. I now have to make sure it's patented for the international market. That's my big poster machine, the result of many years of hard work. We've run out of force now. No, let's go down the road. This morning I was clearing out my workshop, something I don't very often do, and much to my surprise, I came across my second invention that I patented after I came out of the army in 1945. For this moulding here and the moulding for the head, I had to get a license. Eventually, after much trouble, I got one, and I made a few hundred of them, and they were quite successful. In fact, the Duchess of York at the time, she bought a couple for her children, and that rather set me off on the inventing trail. I devote much of my time to collecting documents, tapes and photographs which record unexplained events. I hope to leave a solid legacy of evidence behind me. One of my main interests in parapsychology, especially in the last 3 or 4 years, has been the examination of anomalous photographs, that is, photographs that really have no explanation. And here I'm just duplicating them for transparencies for my lectures. This is an ordinary photograph of a group of holidaymakers in the Austrian Tyrol. It was taken with flash, but seconds before this photo was taken, another photo was taken when the flash didn't go off. And this is it. If you can't spot the difference, here it is. An extra person there, quite solid, 15% too big, seated behind the beer glasses. No one knows who she is. One of the world's top experts in detecting fraudulent photographs, Vernon Harrison, has scrutinized the negatives and says they're absolutely inexplicable. As I say, top experts have looked at it, and I am personally convinced that that is an apparition, a real apparition, a solid one. One of the best photographs I think they'll probably ever get. To some people, there's a big problem relating psychic research to my Jewish religion. It's not a problem for me. There are also those who think I'm a bit obsessed with poltergeists and ghosts. But my family know me better. To them, I'm just dad or granddad. My work as an industrial designer and my investigations into the paranormal are a big part of my life. But my family, my friends and my religion are much more important to me than anything else.
Do you remember Jinx and the Misses, Pixie and Dixie? Oh, the Misses. They got them as well. We're watching them all, aren't we?
This is my youngest grandchild.
Yes.
I love it when we get together as a family, but sometimes Betty and I are conscious that Janet isn't here.
You know, sometimes it's hard to remember back all those years, isn't it? She left school.
Yes,
18.
she was born in 53. Janet was born in
53,
53.
dear. 53,
Yeah.
yes, I won't forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was born in 53.
Actually,
She was always a very strong-willed child. She did what she wanted to do, but she was a little character, you know, even in those days, when she was little. She wouldn't be left behind, would she?
No, no, she's a lovely
She
child.
kept up with the other two, and she was such a tomboy.
I could only remember her as a vital human being, of which she was. I mean, she's a wonderful child, and that's how I wanted to remember her, and that's how we've always remembered her. And as you say, you never get over it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, time helps, but losing a child, especially your youngest child, is...
It doesn't really help. It's just that you get used to what you have to go through,
That's
and
right.
life goes on, and other things happen. And
You get used to life.
it recedes, but you never ever forget, and you always feel it.
We were very depressed about it last week.
Very depressed indeed.
Happens.
I often wonder what would have happened had she lived. How different our lives would have been. Your life would have been quite different. Do you realise that, don't
My
you?
life would have been quite different because it was the
You would
extraordinary things that happened when she were around about the time she died. The extraordinary psychic thing, well, I consider to be psychic, and so did you, that happened that sort of launched me onto this determination to try and find out more about what happens when you die and what psychic research is all about, and that's how it really started me all off. The death of a loved one often sparks off paranormal experiences. I took on a case in Yorkshire where a couple reported that their son, who had died in a road accident, was appearing on their television screen. They say their television was actually off when they took this photograph. Right, let's start from the beginning, shall we? The story.
It started in October. Like a freezing cold presence come round me. And like I could feel like something like on my legs, like touch me, like on my legs.
Cobweb.
Yeah. And I like get these cobwebs like over my face and that.
There are certain situations where straightforward poltergeist phenomena, like things flying about, water happening, fires happening, all those sort of
Well, we ain't out like that.
I know, you won't either. I see a parallel between your case and my case.
Yeah, but what about this what's round her all the time then?
Well, that's because she's very, very sensitive. Why should psychokinetic activity happen around me? Which
No,
happens
but
all the
she
time.
can sit in that chair and say, if it's you, Sean, touch my hand.
Yeah, I know.
And someone touches her hand.
Yeah, well, okay, fair enough.
And yeah, you've said that, yeah.
So what's your interpretation?
That it's Sean about.
Well, I know there's somebody there, but I don't know.
Well, okay, but you see, in the end, it must be with you. If you believe that is your son, then so be it. What else are you looking for? I think we'd better go back to the beginning of the story about your son.
Took the car out to his mates down Castleford, and then when he got to Ferrybridge Power Station, he's coming round this bend, and he hit a little bridge in a field where he went off road. And then police come and told us that this could be our lad. So we went to hospital and see him to identify him. And then put him on life support machine. It's up, so... Nobody knows these things till they've gone through it, do they?
Oh, goodness, it's the most terrible thing. I mean, for parents to be here, you say to yourself, why am I here? My child's not. Well, you know what you're feeling. I know
We're
what.
supposed to go first, aren't we?
That's
All
it.
your kids.
That's it. It's the most terrible thing. It's against nature.
Yeah.
I feel for you. You don't know how much. Very emotional about it, I might tell you. And I'm not usually an emotional person. But I know how you're feeling. Terrible. It brings it all back to, in fact, sitting here talking to you, brings it all back to me. Terrible. Betty and I are having a little get-together this evening with our oldest friends. We've all been together now for most of our lives.
Will he tell you the absolute truth? I said, of course he does. I said, what he tells me is the absolute truth. He said, well, had he seen a ghost? So I said, I think he has. Oh, he said, what time was it?
You said what?
What time was it? Marilyn, Oliver, Jonathan.
All grown,
They're growing so big, all of them.
I know.
Yes.
What have you been doing with yourself, Harold?
Well, nothing special really, just keeping my mind occupied, doing some gardening.
This photograph was taken in about 1936. That's Julius, the one who died on the right. There's Ralph in the centre, and me posing like